Hello there! I'm Scotty. You're not. That's right. Back from a long absence. I'm only doing little shorts, update videos. I'm back. Hopefully. The pain has. Hold on a minute. Subsided. I don't know. I should probably restart, but I'm not because it's me. I didn't expect it to be one, that loud, and two, that many. Keep in mind, I'm in I have underwear on, but I don't have pants on because of the comfortability of the boil. I'm comfortable right now. So I'm just in my boxes. Can't see that low anyway. You can only see me from yonder. Uh-oh. I'll sing over it. Oh, Lord. Did that even... Maybe I don't lift up. Maybe it'll be quieter. I don't know. I was fine before this. I did have tacos. Now it's starting to stink because I'm not wearing pants. So it's... I should start this over. But I'm not. So welcome back to Pick 10 80's 3. Attempt number 2. Yes, previously we had only done one movie that I can't remember what it was. Who is Harry Crumb? That's what it is. Amnesia is appropriate because we're talking about Overboard, the 1987 movie starring Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. A movie that, I thought about it going in and I thought they couldn't make this nowadays. There's proof because when they did the remake, they gender swapped the roles to make it more appropriate. Because it's okay for a woman to gaslight a man with amnesia into believing that he has a family. But it's not okay for a man to do that. Apparently. I don't believe that. It should be equal. But watch this. It actually is very tame. It's not like he's having to do a bunch of bad things. Basically, she's there to take care of his kids. That's basically all it is. But... a movie like this only works due to certain variables within. Like, if you don't know the plot is that Kurt Russell plays a carpenter who has to work on this rich lady's yacht, building her closet. She gyps him for $600 because he used the wrong kind of wood in the closet, and she refuses to pay for what he had already done, and also what potentially he will do, so she kicks him off the boat. Well, then she has an accident, falls off the boat, hits her head, and gets amnesia. He finds out about it and decides to make her believe that she is his wife, named Annie. And so he brings her into his home. He makes her believe that these four... Again, when they introduce the idea of these kids... to talk about how unruly they are, and really they're kind of tame. What the principal says about them at the beginning is far worse than anything they actually do in the movie. It's a PG movie. I don't know if the PG-13 maybe be allowed to do a little bit more, but there's some bad things, but then it's the product of neglectful parent, as the dad is working 2 jobs, we find out, to raise these kids, but he's not there to discipline them, so they're 4 rascals of sorts. But they're not as bad as what the principal makes them out to be at the beginning. But, so there are certain variables that have to happen in order for this plot to succeed. One of them is that the kids have to go along with it, which they do. And that allows this to happen and exist. So does his best friend Billy, who's in on it, who's played by Mike Haggerty. You may know him as Mr. Trigger from Friends. The superintendent in their building, Mr. Trigger. But also, at one point, her husband does find her, but he decides life is better without her and leaves her there, pretends, nope, that's not her, and leaves. Which then allows for Kurt Russell to do this. And that's one of the big variables. And then he goes out tramping with any other woman in, to get away from her because he hates her, I guess. But another big variable is that even though she's this very rich woman, no one else in the entire fucking world recognize her. Everyone, there's a point they're dancing in town with people. And yes, it's some kind of middle of the woods, rundown town, little podunk town. But that makes it even more strange that nobody is pointing at this woman and go, who is she? Since when did he have a wife? Nobody. There's even a woman that Billy is with that never mentions it. Like, she just goes along with it. Like, everyone in this town is going along with it. It doesn't really make that much sense to me. And also the way they deal with her amnesia, where it's like, she can't remember anything. Yet she still behaves the way she did before she had amnesia, which is not how someone would behave. You have amnesia, you don't remember anything, who you are, how you behaved, who you were around, anybody you were with, you remember nothing. Essentially, when you have amnesia, you are a totally different person. But she still behaves like a stuck-up rich bitch. And that doesn't make much sense to me. I know it's because Goldie Hawn is good at playing that role, but it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's one of those things, she becomes nicer over the course of the film. I get that. But if she has amnesia, she shouldn't remember that she was a stuck-up rich bitch and should be behaving different from the begin with. But the whole time that he's introducing this new life to her, she's like, I don't live here. This can't be it. I'm like, but she has amnesia. She should be able to know. And they say that, she starts to get sort of it coming back to her, but, But then how it's resolved, and it all comes kind of crashing down at the end because it has to. Because this movie could have played out. She could have lived this life with them forever the way it was going, in happiness. But we need to have a conclusion to this movie. So all of a sudden her mother keeps calling her husband, her real husband, played by Edward Herrmann, and saying, every time I call, you say my daughter is busy, and I want to see my daughter, which prompts him to be like, okay, I guess I finally got to get her back. So he immediately knows exactly where she is. And it was after she finally comes to, adapt to this life and see that she's like falling in love with Kurt Russell. They come home and he's there, and she just knows his fucking name. Hi, Grant. I gotta put the flowers in water, and I'm just like, no, that I don't believe it. No, she wouldn't. It wouldn't just. If they had played with it, where she walks by him, she sees him, she stops, she looks at him, and he's like, don't you recognize me, honey? It's me, Grant. And he has to kind of look at him. It all plays out kind of weird, because she's like, oh, hi, Grant, I gotta do the flowers, blah, 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 blah. And then comes back out, she goes, Grant, I remember everything. I remember doing this, doing that, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, she thanks him for, thank you for bringing me here and make me your wife. Wait, why did you do that? You're that carpenter guy. I hated you. And then she starts to kind of realize, I don't know, it's handled kind of badly, in my opinion. It's just like, I don't know, there's a better way. Like, throughout the film, they show her kind of remembering certain things, the closet and everything. That, I don't know. It all happens at once, and it kind of just, I don't know, it just doesn't really work. But there is chemistry between them that works because they're a real couple. So of course they have chemistry. It works. Uh, you know, but I don't know. I like Roddy McDowell as the butler or the servant, whatever you want to call him. He was good, uh, especially towards the end of the movie, because well, she goes back onto the boat and whatever, go back to her old life, but she behaves different. 'Cause at the beginning of the movie, she's rich, spoiled, rich bitch. She's smoking, but then she lives her life with Kurt Russell, and it is kind of weird that the she was smoking while she was rich, but not when she's living in the poor town kind of situation, where you think that's where they would smoke, would be where it's the run downtown, people be smoking everywhere, but it's when she was rich that she has one of those long cigarette things like Cruella de Vil, long cigarette holders or whatever. I haven't thought about that when they first showed her. I'm like, that's kind of backwards. But every time I don't smoke, or do I? Like, she doesn't completely have her memory back. But they're like, well, yes, you do. Whoa. We all smoke. And then her husband's like, I don't smoke. I'm like, yeah, and she wants to have, now she wants to drink a beer instead of a glass of wine, because of the life she's been living with Kurt Russell. And she's more apologetic now to Roddy McDowell, because she kind of went through the whole thing of having to do stuff for herself and serve other people, so now she understands what he goes through, so she's nicer to him now. And then it all comes down to, they find the boat somehow, him and the kids, because they want their mommy back. By the way, that's another variable. At one point, she finds her own underwear in his car, because for some reason it's left in there, and she thinks he's cheating on her with another woman. He tries to tell her underwear, from her real life, and that she's not his wife, and even tries to get the kids to help admit it, but they refuse because they want to keep their mom. So, yeah. So there's this whole thing about this story that was told about the honking 3 times, jumping in the water, and they both end up jumping in the water. I like how right now it's like, absolutely not, man. You cannot do that without her life preserver. Puts it around her. The husband tries to shoot at her, and he's like, pull! Kicks him into the water. Like I said, I like Roddy McDowell at the end here. And so I like how they're like, man overboard, woman overboard. And then there's the end, like, man overboard, kissing woman overboard. And, yeah, so they're gonna be together now. And then the reveal is that she is the one with the money. It's her money, not her husband's money. Which causes a big problem for me, because her husband was just ready to let her go. And if she's the one that had control of the money, he wouldn't be able to do that. So, because he thinks that he left her in a nut house, but then that's not the case. She's out there running around or whatever. But let's say she got her memory back while she was living there. She remembered it. But she had learned to love this family, so stayed with them. She could then march up, divorce her husband, and take her money back if she wanted to. He'd be screwed. He'd been gallivanting with all this money, and now he's screwed. I don't know. I also think, though, that her mother is going to have a big problem with what is going on. There was no sequel made. Like I said, a remake. But, yeah, I do like the gag where they're like, the kids are making their Christmas lists this early already. because they're gonna have money now. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's been a long time since I'd seen this. I'll give it a high middle of the road. I don't know. It didn't sit. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It just didn't sit with me like I thought it would. Being something I'd seen it maybe once before. My mom showed me when I was younger. I don't think I'd seen it all the way through since then. But yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's see if I do have the dice. All right, the dice. Excuse me. Six. Actually, I was going to call an audible, but... Six. Wait, huh? Okay. Midnight Run. I think this is one that... Yep. So it's Midnight Run. So I was going to call an audible and do Last American Virgin because I really want to watch that movie. I thought because I got it because I really wanted to watch it, thinking I'd be able to do this right away and get it done fast without all these setbacks that were happening. Made me want to watch it more and more. But I guess we're doing Midnight Run. That works. So, what are your thoughts on Overboard? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I don't know. Maybe I'll do the remake in the future. I really have no interest in that. I remember seeing the trailer for that and went, why? What are we doing? No. But that's not the one that made me roll my eyes so hard to the back of my head that they were going to fall out my butt. Is when they showed a trailer for a movie called Little, which starred, what's her name? Regina Hall. Regina Hall from Scary Movie. And what it was a businesswoman accidentally gets turned. She turns into her 14-year-old self. Basically, she becomes Little. And I went, if this ain't a backwards way of remaking Big, no. If you're going to remake Big, just remake Big. But I was looking at it earlier. It's not a remake of Big. It's just inspired by, because the 14-year-old girl, who's 14 years at the time, who's also a producer on this movie, youngest producer ever, by the way, came up with the idea for a movie like this after watching Big. Movie like that, after watching Big. Points for creativity, but I don't know. When I saw that trailer, I went, oh, no. Like, no. I could see if they did that as a sequel to Big, where, like, it's Tom Hanks. Alright, you fast forward 20 years, but the movie only came out 5 years later, but it's actually technically 20 years later or something. And now Josh Baskin is all grown up. I don't know how he'd be able to do that. I know how you do it. It's 5 years later. Josh Baskin is now grown up, but he wishes he was younger. So, not only does he get made younger, his younger self, which once again be played by David Moscow, he gets teleported back to 1993. Is that 5 years from 1988, right? 1993. So now he's a teenager, he's in high school again. You can bring back the actors from the previous film, but now he's an adult in a kid's body, and it's different because he's now grown up. Whereas, he's behaving more like an adult now instead of a kid behaving like instead of an adult name like a kid. You could have done that and call it Little. I don't know how it would have done, but whatever. I rambled. So, thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.